Please, Olugbo, I have been walking in this forest over weeks, but I didn't see a single lizard. I will be happy if you can.
Wait, before you request anything from me, note that the forest gives, but the forest takes. What you seek shall return to you, not as you expect.
Yes, I agreed, Olugbo.
Deely was the most skilled hunter in his small village, but his skill was matched only by his insatiable greed. He hunted every day not for sustenance, but for profit, selling pelts and meat to traders from the city. Not quite long, the nearby forests fell silent, their once vibrant life now a distant memory. The villagers grumbled, but Deely only saw his dwindling fortune. Desperate, Deely remembered the old tales of the Forbidden Forest, a place so ancient and sacred that no one dared to enter. They said a spirit lived there, a being of pure nature that could grant immense power. Ignoring the elders' warnings, Deely packed his bag and set off on a journey towards the distant, unknown woods through days of arduous travel. He arrived at the edge of the ancient forest. The air was thick with a strange humming energy, and the trees were impossibly tall, their branches gnarled and twisted like old bones. A sense of unease washed over him, but his greed, a powerful and hungry beast, pushed him forward. Deep within the heart of the forest, he found a clearing bathed in a soft, golden light. As he stepped into the center, a figure shimmered into existence before him. It was Oli-Igbo, the forest spirit, a being of swirling leaves, glowing flowers, and pure, concentrated light. Deely, trembling, explained his plight and begged for a power that would bring animals to him, so he would never have to hunt again. Oli-Igbo listened, its form shifting like a gentle breeze. It agreed, but with a warning. The forest gives, but the forest takes. What you seek will return to you, not as you expect. Deely returned to his village, a strange glowing mark now on his hand. He held his hand out, and a small deer appeared from the woods, as if pulled by an invisible string. The villagers gasped in amazement, their fear of the hunter turning to awe. Deely had found his new, effortless way of life. Soon, Deely's power grew stronger. He no longer needed to hunt. He simply attracted. Animals from all over the land flocked to his village, creating a chaotic menagerie. Deely became the richest man, his hut overflowing with goods, but he began to feel a strange emptiness, a hollow ache in his chest. The village, once a quiet place, was now a constant hubbub of noise and chaos. The animals, drawn by Deely's power, were disoriented and restless. They trampled crops, knocked over market stalls, and caused a constant commotion. The villagers, once in awe, now began to grumble and complain. Deely, sitting in his overflowing hut, felt the hollow ache in his chest grow. He was the richest man in the village, but he was also the loneliest. The villagers avoided him, and the animals, his source of wealth, were a constant, noisy reminder of his isolation. The glowing mark on his hand began to pulse with a faint, angry red light. It was no longer a gentle hum, but a sharp, stinging pain that shot up his arm. He tried to ignore it, but the ache in his chest and the pain in his hand were a constant, tormenting reminder of his unnatural power. He tried to stop the power, to will the animals away, but he couldn't. The mark on his hand was now a source of agony, and the animals were drawn to him with even greater force. The more he resisted, the more the power pulsed and burned. One night, the pulsing grew so intense that he couldn't stand it. He ran from his hut out into the open, hoping to escape the pain. But as he ran, the ground began to tremble beneath his feet, and a low, groaning sound echoed from the forest. The forest itself began to respond. The trees just outside the village started to creak and groan, their branches bending towards Deely's hut. The very earth began to crack and heave, as if a great beast was stirring beneath the ground. The villagers, seeing the forest's unnatural movement, fled in terror. They shouted at Deely, blaming him for the catastrophe. "He has angered the spirits," they cried. "He has brought a curse upon us." He was left completely alone, a single, isolated figure in the midst of a growing storm. The vortex began. the air filled with swirling leaves, dirt, and branches. The glowing mark on his hand was now a blinding, furious red. The forest was taking back its life force, and it was pulling him in, a powerful, magnetic force he could not resist. He felt his own energy draining. The world around him became hazy and distorted. He felt the life of the forest, the pain of the trees, and the animals rushing into him, and his own life force being pulled away, a painful and terrifying exchange. He remembered Oluigbo's warning. What you seek will return to you, not as you expect. He understood now. He had sought life and wealth by taking it, and now life was taking him. The balance was being restored, and he was the price. With the last of his strength, he didn't beg for power or salvation. He begged for forgiveness. He apologized to the forest, to the animals, to the land itself for his greed, for his selfishness, for the pain he had caused. The vortex subsided, leaving him collapsed on the ground, weak but alive. The glowing mark on his hand was gone, replaced by a faint, green, leaf-shaped scar. The air was still, and the forest, though scarred, was silent once more. He lay there for a long time, listening to the quiet. He felt the earth beneath him, a living, breathing thing. He felt the pain of the forest, but he also felt its resilience. He knew what he had to do. Dio, now a changed man, began his new life. He no longer hunted. Instead, he tended to the forest, planting new trees and helping the injured animals. He worked with his hands, feeling the soil, and for the first time, he felt a true sense of purpose. He built a small hut at the edge of the forest, a simple dwelling with no luxuries. He spent his days in the woods, a caretaker of the land he once plundered. The animals, sensing his change of heart, no longer feared him. They would often come to him, not for a magical pull, but for a gentle touch. The villagers, seeing his change, began to return. They were no longer afraid, and they helped him in his work. They learned from him not how to take, but how to give back. The village and the forest began to heal together, a slow, patient process. Dealey had lost his fortune and his power, but he had found something far more valuable, a purpose, and a home in the heart of the forest he once plundered. He learned that true wealth is not what you take, but what you give back, and so the story of Dealey the hunter became the story of Dealey the caretaker. He lived a long and peaceful life, a testament to the fact that even the most broken things can be mended, and even the most selfish hearts can learn to give. Thank you for watching till the end. If you found this story interesting, kindly comment your thoughts, like and follow our page to receive more stories.